a show that's trying to be glass half full, but Mr. Negativity on the other side, giving us sad thumbnails and everything, makes it seem like we're all negative. It's the Pain and Panic podcast. Adam Sheets, Chris Reynolds with you as always.
Yeah, Pain and Panic is the name for a reason. I had to comment that to a lot of people who were like, "You're panicking over Kyle Tucker too much." I'm like, it's in the name. But no, today, we're in pain today, not panic. That was the thumbnail because we just watched what was one of the most incredible end of the game comebacks. Not like a crazy comeback like the Bears normally do.
Craziest play we've seen in a long time.
Since probably like the Minneapolis Miracle, okay? So we see 4th down, the Bears going for it again. It's like, not like this. Caleb has all this pressure. He's running around, he's spinning, and then blindly whips it up, and I'm like, no way. No, I look, and in the end zone, gets the catch, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm yelling. The extra point comes. I thought they were going to do an extra point, not a 2-point, because they're home. They had the momentum.
I wanted them to go for 2 because I wanted to record earlier. Selfishly,
I did too, but you know what? They don't do it, and I thought they were going to win overtime this up.
Well,
the Rams, no, Adam, we were deprived of that, and now I'm sad.
That's the first thing you thought, Chris? That's the first thing you thought?
What?
First thing I thought was, it'd be such a Bears thing to miss this kick right now.
Oh, I thought that too. My dad was like, oh, okay, so now it's tied. I said, wait, don't say that. It's the Bears.
Dude, I wanted him to go for 2. I'm like, he's going to miss it.
Well, the Bears before that had a chance to score a touchdown from the 2, and they couldn't get it. Yeah. And I'm like, probably not good vibes from the 2-yard line right now.
I thought Benny would be like, you know what? I'm cold, too. I'm cold.
No, but it was just sad. Not that we're a Bears fan, not that we're a Bears podcast, but like, they were this fun, magical team that had all these crazy comebacks, and it was just fun. Like, I know the Rams are good. Like, Stafford is a very likable guy. Puka's really good. Devontae, like, a bunch of good people. Nothing against the Rams, but the Bears were a magical ride this year. Credit to the Bears. An incredible season from Caleb Williams and the Bears. A great way to close the season. Besides the final drive, that was sad. That pick was terrible, but up until that, they kind of won over many fans. Caleb looked great in many moments. We know Ben Johnson's a great coach. They're going to be great for years to come, and they're going to have a tough division, but I think they can do it. They have the talent. They have the coach. Everything in place. I wish they were able to pull off this one last comeback, but unfortunately they don't. But a great season, and you know what? I'm sorry, Bears fans. That was brutal, but at least you know going forward, you're going to have more chances. Yeah. You're not Buffalo with the Bills where it's like, this might have been our best chance.
Yeah, the NFL stands for not for long, so you never want to be like, oh, we'll be back. But this felt like the Jags in the sense of you're ahead of schedule. Like, this wasn't supposed to be this year that you were going to do it. It's like you're ahead of schedule, so this is a great year to build off of. Now, you got to be able to build off of it, but you feel like you have the tools intact. We got the full Caleb Williams experience tonight, which was awesome. Some bad, some really bad. And some of the greatest plays you've ever seen in your life by a quarterback. Some of the best Houdini acts, getting out of sacks. And then
that
they get
touchdown at the end of the 4th quarter is going to be the best play that probably now amounts to nothing. In the moment, it was incredible.
It could be up there with depending on how this game's remembered, it could be up there with like the Jermaine Kearse catch. From the Super Bowl when he made that crazy catch, but then ended with the interception. So everyone kind of forgets the Jermaine Kearse catch a little bit.
And it was like, you know what? Jaden Daniels last year killed their season with that Hail Mary that killed them. But you know what? Caleb was like, I could spin around and do a blind throw and just chuck it up there too. And it worked out. Caleb was accurate. It wasn't like a prayer. It was literally like, I know he's in the corner and he was actually open.
Yep. And then, of course, it all came down to they get a first down. They go for it on 4th and less than a yard near midfield, and they get it. And it's like, okay, 15 yards, and then you're in field goal range. You can walk it off. You can, send your team there, and then interception.
You felt like they were playing not to lose in the sense of like they were kind of afraid to take a risk. And when you're playing like that, you tend to just make bad mistakes, and I think that's just what happened there. One of those things where, like, I'm sure in 2 years, Caleb's going to be more poised in those moments, but I think it was just like you had to be so amped up from the 4th quarter. Having this momentum just got a little too aggressive, but it's hard. Like, I'm really sad that the Bears lost because I could have watched this team in the 4th quarter like any week. The Seahawks-Rams we've already seen twice, and I know it's gonna be a great 3rd game. Most likely.
They were great games. They were both great games. So they give you that.
The Rams-Seahawks. They were saying the Seahawks game, but
no, Rams-Seahawks were both great games.
Yeah. So that's a great thing, but like you just like I made such a nice thumbnail with Caleb Williams in it.
I
had to change it to just pain. But you know what? That's okay.
We had a Meek Mill song title on there. Man, it was great.
Dreams and Nightmares.
Great. Yep. We're
going to have to save that one for later.
Yeah, well, Chris, I'm going to take you behind the curtain a little bit.
We do this too much, listeners. Adam. At this point, our fans are part of the
Chris is a
team.
Big AI guy. And I'm not talking Allen Iverson. Chris is a big AI guy. He uses it to help him out with some questions. He had this list of titles. And I saw Dreams and Disasters. I'm like, what type of title is that? I'm like, the Nightmares is the obvious one to add here.
Yeah. Adam, well, when I made 4 thumbnails, right? I'm doing thumbnails for later episodes. I'm making graphics for the shorts, and sometimes my brain is fried. And I'm like, Chad, should we take it away?
You for using it. I just meant that.
And then I send it to you, and we're a collaborative team over here.
Yeah.
And also, I will say, Adam, stay tuned for later. We're going to be ranking our most tragic fan bases. That's going to be its own segment we're going to post, but it's part of this podcast.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put the Bears on there, Adam, especially after this loss. But you know what? They had too much success back in the day.
The 85 Bears gives you a lot of runway.
Compared to the other teams.
There's other teams that have had a lot worse.
In recent history, it's been rough for the Bears, but this didn't feel like the double doink. You know what I mean? This was a win. You're like, we were so close to this amazing win. We didn't get it, but you have hope. Okay, it's kind of like the Thunder, I think, in the NBA, 2 years ago when they lost to the Mavericks. Yeah, and we were like, they could have won. And I think next year, they got a little bit better, made a little moves, and then they're back and they win. So credit to the Bears. We could get more about the Rams, Adam, or whatever you want to talk about, but I just have this adrenaline from that game. I was so excited to come on here and being like, the Bears did the cardiac Bears, and then being all excited.
Yeah, praying for my boy, Matt Scalzo. Love that guy, Bears fan. Texted him. He texted me after the Jags lost, said sorry. I had to do the same thing to him. We're manifesting a Jags-Bears Super Bowl in 2027, so trying to, plan that all out for us, but don't look like it's going to happen. It won't happen in 2026, sadly. Rams... It was interesting because, you and I expected a lot of points in this game because of the defenses. We had questions about it. And the offenses, now the Bears we kind of expected to slow on offense and then speed up towards the end as they always do. But the Rams offense looked like they were stuck in neutral a little bit. Credit to the Bears defense. They were phenomenal in this game, especially the secondary. But you look at the rest of the field. They'll play the Seahawks, who they split with in the regular season. And then, of course, in the AFC side, you have Patriots, Broncos. Are the Rams, when you add in experience, coaching, and everything they have, especially the quarterback position, are they the Super Bowl favorites today on January 19th, 2026?
On paper, the Rams should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl, but you can't say that after they barely beat the Panthers. I know the Bears are good, but they barely beat the Bears. They probably should have lost to the Bears. And the Seahawks just can't come off of a killing of the 49ers. So the Rams, on paper, yes. In reality, no. And in the regular season, they lost a lot of games that they shouldn't have lost. They lost to that Falcons, that bad game in Week 17, I believe. And they lost to the Panthers in the regular season. That was also bad. They lost to the Niners with Mac Jones. They have a lot of bad losses. They make games that should be blowouts. They make them really close. I don't know what's missing. They have a good offensive line. They have a great quarterback, great receivers. I think we said they have the coach that we like the most, and I think their defense is good. I'm not saying they have a great defense like the Seahawks or anything, but they still have a good defense. I don't know where the problem is. I don't know why every game has to be so close, but on paper, you would think that they have the best team.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like I said, I was most confident in this team. A little shaken a little bit after that game. The Bears are a good team. Don't want to discredit the Bears here, but the offensive line looked out of sync today. There were 4 sacks early in this game where it's there was one where they didn't even touch the defensive tackle, and it's what are we doing, boys? Stafford took one step and the defender was in his lap. There were just some where there were just some miscommunications down there. Like you said, the receivers did not get separation. Now, the weather might have played in a factor. And again, the Bears' deep secondary that had struggled at times this year looked really, really good. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of concerns, but I think, again, it's who do you trust? The coach and quarterback's always what it comes back to for a lot of people, and I think they still have that. They still have probably your most trustworthy coach-quarterback combination, considering what they've done and the fact that they've won a Super Bowl together already.
Well, not to do too much of our preview of the AFC and everything, but
Well,
Drake
Jarrett
May,
Stidham and Sean Payton is a great combination to talk about.
Jarrett Stidham is kind of a disqualifier for the Broncos. I love Drake May, but I mean, you are seeing that he's his second-year quarterback in the playoffs. He's making a lot of mistakes right now.
Some jitters.
Yeah. And like Sam Darnold, I know had his first good, his first great game in a, important game, but like it's still Sam Darnold. That's just the years of like Sam Darnold, like, not having great taste in your mouth. That's still there.
Yep.
As great as he could be, you're still going to be like, this guy was on the Jets. Then they like got rid of him. He was bad in the Panthers, back up in the Niners. And then, like the taste of like last year's week 18, like you can't get rid of that. It takes a lot. So you just look at Stafford, you're like, he's a quarterback I trust the most. And McVay is probably, at least top tier. I don't know if you could argue him one easily. So,
yeah. Let's stay in the NFC. We'll go to the Seahawks game now before we jump to the AFC, since we're kind of already there. You mentioned Sam Darnold. They dismantled the 49ers. They could have ended the game after the opening kickoff because they scored 7. The Niners never got to 7. 41-6 final score here. Seahawks get the win. Niners really banged up. Like, it was going to be a hard game for them anyway, and things kind of got off the rails early, and just they were never able to set them back. Bunch of turnovers in this game. So I guess the question is, don't want to get too much in on the Niners. Like, just so many injuries. It was really hard for them to truly compete. It finally added up on them in this game. But did the Seahawks answer any of your questions that you had for them, Chris, going in? Because we had a lot of questions about Mike McDonald, the inexperienced Sam Darnold in a playoff game, his first playoff win. Some of the questions just about this team and maybe the inexperience they have. Did they answer any of those with this win over San Francisco with the way it happened?
No.
All right. That all you got?
Yep, that's it. Now, so the Seahawks, obviously, great win. Opening kickoff is a touchdown. That's great. And you know what? You know who it was? Rashid Shaheed,
your
who
boy.
I've watched on the Saints the last few years, and he was incredible. So the moment he went to Seattle, I was like, yep. And he's been a little quiet. So this was due. They needed that Rashid Shaheed game. So he starts off the game with a touchdown. And like you said, I don't want to just keep discrediting the Seahawks. I literally picked the Niners to win just because I was like...
You have the Seahawks in the Super Bowl in your prediction, like, before the playoffs.
I think that I'm 3 for 4 in my before the...
Yeah, you are. The only team you lost is your Super Bowl champs. But
was the Bills, yeah.
Yeah.
But just the Seahawks, when you go up to a 7-0 lead, and then I forget the Niners didn't score, and then the Seahawks scored again and got a field goal, and then it was 17-0 when you blink. And then you're like, oh... Okay, and the pressure's kind of off, especially after the opening touchdown. I want to see Sam Darnold in a close defensive game. I love the effort from this Niners team. And as I said, when I was saying the Niners were going to win, I was saying the Seahawks are way better. I was believing that Darnold would see ghosts and Salah would develop a scheme and there would just be a lot of like pressure on this. That was all taken away with one kickoff. And immediately the Niners were like, they looked flat. And you know why, Adam? Because the NFL screwed them over and gave them a day less rest, which was ridiculous as the Bears-Rams, which obviously was a great game on Sunday night, but that game should have been on Saturday, and the Niners should have an extra day. Not that that's going to make the whole difference. I know the game was such a big blowout, but they looked tired. They looked like they were missing half their team to injuries because they are. So I want to see the Seahawks one more time. If they could beat the Rams in the NFC Championship, that would be like, oh, okay. That's their first, like, I know that team is really good. That was a huge game. I don't know. Just kind of felt like a normal game. That Niners game just felt like from the start, it was just Niners were dead.
Yeah. Interested to see if you give the Bills the same leeway on the short rest travel situation. We'll see how that goes.
We'll get to the Bills.
But I think they answered some questions. The defense proved they can play. Like, they were legit.
We knew the defense was
great. Yeah, but you never
Adam.
know. Once you get to the playoffs, you've seen a lot of great defenses take a step back. Like we mentioned, Sean McDermott and the Bills. Again, we'll get there later.
Adam,
but
I don't think it's the defenses. I think it's these quarterbacks are terrible in this postseason.
That's true. We had, again, Bills had a bunch of turnovers. Not going to say that number. We'll save that for later. 6 turnovers in this game.
Yep.
CJ the Texans had 5 turnovers. Drake had a bunch of turnovers today.
Yep.
Well, he at least fumbled a bunch. Some of them they got back. The Rams Bears outside of Caleb's 3 picks was like the only clean game we were on pace for.
And then that pick at the end, like these quarterbacks that learn to like not turn the ball over, and that's the key to winning in the regular season. They're all about, not turning the ball over. The moment they get to the playoffs, they turn the ball over. And there's a few factors I know. Part of it is in the playoffs. It's now January. It's cold. It was snowy, and the weather plays a bigger factor, more chaos and whatever. Everyone's trying really hard. Maybe you just get nervous, but like these turnovers are just most of them by CJ Stroud. All of those were just giveaways for no reason, and some of them are like just normal plays. But like there's just some of them are so bad, Adam. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think this is us maybe taking some of what Mahomes does for granted because he never has those games. And I think he also kind of brings the quarterbacks to play that way. To now, we're getting these games where it's like, oh, let's take risk, because we can afford it. It's like you don't have the big bad wolf on the other side. And that's why Jalen, outside of this year, had been good in the playoffs because he never turned the ball over and trusted his defense. So, like, we've seen that. But these quarterbacks, it was a turnover-friendly divisional round, which made for fun football. It made for exciting. I know you weren't a fan of Patch Texans. We'll get there.
Yeah, okay, listen, that was fun. Listen, Patriots-Texans was not a bunch of turnovers. It was literally just like watching a slip and slide with the ball like covered in oil is what it looked like, and they're just giving the ball all around the field. I don't know what was happening. Listening to it on the radio, we did for like probably 6 minutes of the game because we were driving home. On the radio, you could not keep track of what was happening. It was like, this is an interception, oh! And then like next play, and a fumble. And I'm like, who was the ball now? I don't understand. It just kept, like, it was a turnover every single 2 minutes.
I had I was laughing. I thought it was awesome. I thought we'll talk more about that later. But, it was just an ugly game. But the Seahawks defense looked really good. Sam didn't have to do much. It doesn't matter what Saleh drew up. I mean, the offense was handing them the ball half the time, so like the Niners had a bunch of turnover problems, and they just managed the game and got the win. So again, they're going to have a tough challenge. They get it at home, which makes that comeback, to get the 1 seed even more important now as you get a home game instead of having to go to SoFi, which isn't the best home field advantage, but Rams fans are better than Chargers fans, so it would have been a little tougher. But yeah, so at least get it home in the elements, which maybe favors a team that leans on their defense a little bit more. It's going to be a little nicer for Seattle. Yep, but Seahawks-Rams, going to be a great game. We'll preview that later this week, but we got 2 classics between them this year. 2 games decided by a total of 1 point so far. Rams won by 2, Seahawks won by 1. So we'll hopefully get another great one in the NFC Championship game. Now we'll go to the AFC. And what I thought was going to be, the headliner story that we were going to have to lead the show with, but Rams-Bears gave us a classic. The Bills and the Broncos had a game and ended 33-30 as the Bills lose in overtime. And I feel like since this is all my X feed wants to talk about, I guess we have to talk about the interception by J-Mac taken away from Brandon Cooks in overtime. Chris?
Well, Adam, I'm going to start with this. I hate this game was on Saturday because by the time if we make a short and post it on Sunday, it's old news because this Caleb Williams thing is just like the only thing in my mind. This Bills game feels like a year ago. But no, I don't even want to go back to thinking about the Bills game, but let's do it. It's okay.
We have to. We have to. It's Josh Allen.
I know.
Josh Allen.
Adam, I talk saying that the Bills team isn't that good, but Josh Allen is that great, and he can win any game for them. This game, he did not win for them. He, if anything, cost them the game, but he wasn't like terrible costing them the game like CJ Stroud. Like, it's different. But in terms of the Josh Allen standard, he was below it. And he could have all raced with the Brandon Cooks catch, and I'm not a Brandon Cooks fan. The Saints literally cut him to start the year. But you know what? They throw it to him deep. I thought it was a bad decision, and I really don't know if this was a catch or not. In my mind, he has the ball, he goes down with it, he's down, and the Broncos player takes it out after him. However, I easily could see the point of he never really has full control, so the Broncos guy can rip it out. What's really frustrating is they did not give it the time of day in the replay review. If they could have just looked at it for 5 minutes, I would feel better about it. But how quickly they just moved on from it was concerning. And it just made it feel like, all right, now this is going to be a bigger conversation because it feels like the refs ignored it.
Yeah. I mean, it was an interception. It's just the rule. It's an interception. That's what it was. If the defender wasn't there and Brandon Cooks hit the ground and the ball popped out, they would have called it an incomplete pass. They
I
wouldn't have
don't think
called it
the
a
ball would
fumble.
have popped out, though, without the defender, though.
If you watch the one angle, he goes to the ground and his hands fall off the ball, and that's when the defender takes it from him. There's one angle that literally shows his hands come off the ball and the defender takes it.
I don't know. Listen, if they called it a catch, Broncos fans would be freaking out.
Yeah, that's the
and if they called it an interception, which they did, the Bills fans are going to freak out.
But here's what you have to know. Every rules analyst in the NFL says it's an interception.
Richard Sherman says it was a catch.
Richard Sherman's a rules analyst in the NFL.
It's just kind of making fun of Richard Sherman there, but like it's tough. I could easily see both points. That's not that interesting of a take. I know. I would love to be like, that was a catch, blah blah. I honestly can't really tell. Like if you told me, but like I also think determines what a catch is surprisingly vague with a lot of gray area in the NFL of like the little frame by frame of what happened. I don't know. Can
we get to this? This is basically my main point. First of all, it was called an interception on the field, and I did not see anything close to being able to overturn it. So like that would have been, if they would have stopped it to review it, which they probably should have, that would have been my thing. Is it's hard to overturn that, so I would have given them that. Also, you turn the ball over 5 times in a game. Stop blaming the refs.
Yeah, if this was like, I don't know, let's say like a 2018 NFC Championship, and there was one specific play that like specifically determined the outcome of the game, like a no call that was so obvious, sure, like I would love to be like, that specifically cost you the game.
But Drew Brees didn't turn the ball over 5 times.
Drew Brees didn't turn the ball over 5 times. In fact, that was to ice the game, was that first down. Just saying. Just people keep complaining, like, this is the worst call the refs have made. I'm like, I could think of some worse ones.
Well, no, also, by letter of the law it is, but the law maybe will change. Bills lose a game, the law changes. That's how it works in the NFL.
Usually.
So.
You know what's funny? They changed the overtime rules for Josh Allen, and then he couldn't get it done. And listen, I didn't even want to start with the interception because that takes away the main points from this game, where Josh Allen has to play perfect for the Bills to win. Josh Allen had a Max Brosmer moment of times expiring at the end of the first half, no timeouts, runs with the ball with one hand, throws it backwards accidentally when he's getting tackled, gifts the Broncos 3 points. I love Josh Allen. That was indefensible. That's what cost you games. And guess what? The fourth quarter ended, the game was tied. So that specifically led to them losing.
And he got strip sacked on the second play of the half that led to another field goal.
Like a strip sack, bad, but like that is so much better than running for no reason in a play that's going to mean nothing. And fumbling and not protecting the ball at all.
And he threw a horrible interception after his defense got him an interception in the third quarter.
The Bills in the first half got really unlucky with like they forced a fumble, but one guy was off sides and didn't even impact the play, whatever. And like they would just like a ball was thrown right to the defense, it was dropped, like stuff like that. They got close. They finally get one, and Josh would just try to like whip it deep to Brandon Cooks. I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I just don't understand why that was the decision making. I don't know if it was him or the play calls or what. I think Buffalo really just lost their identity in this game. And part of that is that's what happens when you fumble and then throw another interception is you get behind and you start getting a little nervous that you play out of what they normally do. But they still got the lead back. But at the end of the game, you know how the playoffs work. Whoever has the ball last wins. And they gave the Broncos the ball to tie the game. And they did. And then the Bills had to come down and then tie it again. But you have to score a touchdown there. They don't. Only kick a field goal. Broncos score on another deep touchdown at the end of fourth. Like, we don't do a play-by-play, but like, the point is, there were multiple chances for the Bills to win. And I mean, my cousins, I was with my cousins who are Bills fans. I would be livid if I was a Bills fan. It was heartbreaking. It was terrible. They're very upset about the defensive pass interference calls at the end of the overtime. I think one of them, it was fine.
The second one was obvious. The first one was questionable. But Joey Bosa also had the most blatant roughing the passer penalty on that play that did get called and got declined. So it would have been a 15-yard penalty anyway. Would have been
also, when the Bills had the ball in overtime, there was a hold that would have been a safety.
Yep, that would have ended the game. Bo Nix would have never got hurt.
Yeah, like there are multiple things, and my family is quick. They're saying that the NFL like doesn't want Buffalo in the Super Bowl. I think that's ridiculous. I think they want Josh Allen in the Bills over Bo Nix, now Jarrett Stidham.
Bo Nix, a coach that they suspended for a year in the Broncos versus the Bills with their golden Josh Allen, who they can sell a lot of tickets and money off of. Yeah, that's
I don't want to hear about the refs. I'm sorry. I know it's bad. Like, there are plays you can look at. I'm saying you have to look at the other way. And honestly, you turned the ball over so many times. You deserve to lose that game. I'm sorry. Yeah. Look, I wanted Buffalo to win, but
I get being upset. And if I was a Bills fan, I'd probably be upset. But there's a lot of other things. I would be
miserable right now.
But another play that gets swept under the rug is Josh had Dawson Knox to win the game at the end of regulation, and he missed him. He overthrew it. He hits him, the game's over. Because he scored.
The Shakir play, too, he spiked like the ball, hit the ground first.
Yeah, he spiked it on the pass or the screen pass.
That would have been a touchdown.
There was a lot of plays where they screwed it up and they weren't able to figure it out. So it's upsetting.
Maybe it was the altitude too. Like James Cook looked winded every time I looked at him, which was weird.
That fumble killed them early too. They were probably going up 14-3 if he doesn't fumble there because they were moving the ball.
I understand why Bills fans are upset. I would be too. I actually think, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't even one of the worst losses in recent history. No. It's just frustrating when it's Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And now the team that beat you lost their quarterback, so they're just going to lose the next game.
Let's get to Bo Nix. Okay. Sadly, I feel bad for him. Like, because it's like you just feel bad for him.
It is terrible.
Played well, especially at the end of the game. He's surprisingly one of the more clutch quarterbacks. He's a lot of
poor man's Caleb Williams.
Yeah, like him and the Bears and the Broncos really were having these dueling miracle seasons. And the Bears, of course, is officially over. And the Broncos feels dead now as Bo Nix is out for the year with a broken bone in his ankle. Jarrett Stidham is going to get the start. Chris, you see they did sign a veteran quarterback to their practice squad today.
Ben DiNucci?
Ben DiNucci, my boy.
Yeah.
Love Ben DiNucci.
I said this the moment the news came out. Tom Brady should sell his shares of the Raiders and come back and play. That would be the smartest move he could do. Win one more ring. He can't do it because he owns the Raiders now. But I think...
also, he owns the Raiders, who are division rivals with the Broncos, by the way.
I know.
And he also would have to play his former team where he has a statue outside their stadium. I don't think they'd like that.
Adam, they didn't want him back. You don't think he wants revenge?
Want him back. Bill didn't want him back. Bill's not there anymore. If Bill doesn't have a statue.
Okay, you know what? Scrap this. Hold on. I have a better idea. Ready? If Bill Belichick was still coaching the Patriots, Tom Brady would come back and play for the Broncos and beat them in in Denver. Okay? If Bill Belichick was still the coach, Tom Brady would unretire, play for the Broncos if he didn't own the Raiders, and it would have been the most wonderful AFC Championship game we've had in ages. It would have been the biggest two faces going off against each other, and I wish we had it. Unfortunately, Belichick's in college. Unfortunately, Brady owns part of the Raiders now, and we don't get that.
And he's going to be in a booth in Seattle. A little
Listen,
busy.
I think Fox would understand. Tom, go get another Super Bowl ring. You're telling me Tom Brady isn't better than Jarrett Stidham? Honestly, look at Phillip Rivers. But you know what's different about Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady? Tom Brady is still in really good physical form. Phillip Rivers was surprisingly decent, but he's not in great shape.
But aren't you a little worried with the fact that Riley Leonard executed that offense better than Phillip Rivers ever did when Riley Leonard finally got a shot?
It was week 18. I'm not really going to read much into that. What I am saying is Tom Brady is still in football. He's still learning these teams, and his brain is what's the most important thing. He stayed in great shape. He didn't have injuries at the end of his career. He was still great when he retired. Yeah. And he said he could have done the Phillip Rivers and actually played, but he doesn't want to. But if it wasn't against, I think if it was Belichick, Brady.
And if it also wasn't Denver, I don't think he has a good case with
Denver.
No, because Denver's eliminated him a couple times. Plus, Peyton played in Denver, so that probably doesn't help. Even him and Peyton are friends, but rivals. So
I would have said Peyton could come back and play, but unfortunately, I think Peyton's a little.
Peyton couldn't play in the last Super Bowl.
I was gonna say Peyton was already washed on his last legs in that last one. Drew Brees, I think Sean Payton would have loved to bring back, but a little just his arm gave out.
Jarrett Stidham against the Patriots.
His former team, Adam. His former team.
Yes. Jarrett Stidham's not going to go out there and throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. But with the defense they have and how shaky Drake's been at times, there's a chance that the defense can give him opportunities. All he has to do is execute an offense, manage the run game, hit quick passes, and they might be able to do something. But it's going to take a lot. It's going to take Jarrett Stidham to step up. We've seen backup quarterbacks do it before. So
I'm just genuinely saying, if Tom Brady was actually available, I would take Tom Brady tomorrow.
What about Matt Ryan?
He's on the Falcons now.
No, he's part of everyone's getting into the front
making
office.
Their decisions.
It's killing us. It's killing us.
Who's the most recent? Cam Newton's available.
Yeah, but it's Cam ain't going to the Broncos. Oh.
No.
Von Miller
on a
will walk
real
through
note,
that
the
door.
only real retired player I would choose would be Tom Brady. If it's not Brady, then just give me Stidham.
I'm trying to think of Alex Smith's medically done. Like Jimmy G was on a team, so
he's on the Rams.
Him. Yeah, like you can't take him. He's busy. Carson Wentz was on a team, so you can't like they have to be true free agents. Like they can't be like off waivers signed, like because there's like weird rules with signing guys in.
Kaepernick.
Yeah, but they're not going to. Like,
I will say Kaepernick there was a stretch where everyone would just say Kaepernick anytime anyone needed a quarterback.
And everyone's like, no.
When Rodgers got there, like Kaepernick, I'm like, he's like old now and hasn't played in a long time.
He's old, hasn't played, and the NFL's not going to do it, so we can just stop.
I know,
right, wrong, and different. The NFL's not doing it, so
yeah. I don't know. But I actually think if Brady was going, if it was Belichick, I guarantee you Brady's suiting up tomorrow. He's selling his shares immediately.
I'll tell you
whatever loophole he has to do to play.
If it was flipped and Drake May got hurt, I think Brady might have played, and I think the Raiders would have been okay with it.
The NFL can't allow an owner of the Raiders to play.
Yeah, but he's not going to screw the Patriots. He'll screw the Broncos because that's division rival. He won't screw the Pats.
I just, it's not feasible.
Yeah, it's not. It won't happen. But I was just trying to think of ways it could happen.
Now it just kind of stinks because you lose Buffalo and you don't even get like Denver that we just saw. We're going to get, a weird defensive team. And honestly, Adam, the Broncos defense was great to start the year, and now they're good, but they're not great like
they did just force 5 turnovers. So give them some credit.
They hit hard, and they get pressure in the quarterback, but in the beginning of the year, they were probably a top-tier defense. Now they're probably like tier 2 or 3. Yeah, the Broncos fans agree. I asked Broncos fans, what's your biggest red flag? And they were like, our defense has not actually been as amazing as it should be.
I'll say their defense is probably as good as the Chargers' defense. And
it's better than that.
Yeah, and look what the Chargers defense did to Drake May and them for a long period of time. And they got to go on the road to Denver.
Also, play. I will say the Broncos are actually a good team. I know Bills fans were upset that they lost to the Broncos. The Broncos are a very good team. They double the amount of Pro Bowlers as the Bills.
Yep.
Their biggest weakness was probably Bo Nix.
Their biggest weakness overall was their pass defense outside of Pat Surtain. So.
True. They don't have a great secondary outside of Surtain, but when you get pressure that well, it usually isn't a problem. Like, their defense is usually sound. Their only offensive issues are when, they can't really run the ball. Like, they don't have the same issues as these teams. They're a pretty, overall talented group. There's no shame in losing to the Broncos.
Outside of pass rush, they don't do anything great, which is kind of but they always win. It's like,
they don't do anything great, but I actually don't think they have that many big weaknesses.
No, they don't do anything bad. They're penalties was their big weakness. They didn't have one, which was another complaint for Bills fans. They really were mad at the stripes, but never look at the fact that McCole Hardman also dropped a pass that would have put him in field goal range, by the way.
Yeah, there was a lot for Bills fans. We're going to get to them later about the tortured fan bases. I just genuinely am like, all right, I don't understand, blaming the refs for this one. I think you guys, the Bills at least, they played great in moments, but they played terrible in moments, and a lot of the playoffs is about not making those terrible plays.
I get being frustrated.
The Chiefs did better than anyone.
Yep, I get being frustrated, but you didn't do everything right to win the game. You gave a bunch of stuff back.
This was not the Bills against the Chiefs, the 13-second game where Josh Allen played great and you just couldn't, get it back on the field.
But it was just Mahomes played great as well, and it was just back and forth.
Yeah, this was maybe you shouldn't turn the ball over with 4 seconds left on,
Yeah. A little bit on, a lot on Josh, also on Sean McDermott. Just knee it, dude.
I know.
Or Josh also has to know, because Sean said
I didn't realize that at that moment they lost all their timeouts.
Yeah, Josh was he said it going into the half. He's like, we were gonna run a play. If it wasn't there, Josh was just to throw it away, and he decided to run. Also, why was he not tucking the ball? Josh usually isn't a guy that runs flimsily with the ball.
I know.
It was so weird to see it.
I know. And it does kill me that the team is devastated because I think they know this was probably their best chance, their last chance, maybe not with obviously Josh. I think could get to the playoffs again, whatever. But this team's getting older. They have a lot of holes outside of Josh Allen. They have to this was supposed to be they retool and it comes together. It never really came together.
Yeah. All right, now it's gonna take us to the Broncos.
Let's do this one really quickly, Adam. I don't want to.
I have a lot to say about this game. It was game of the weekend, baby, for me. The Patriots are going to the AFC Championship game after beating the Houston Texans 28-16. C.J. Stroud, my buddy, my pal, had 4 turnovers in this game. 5 if you count Woody Marks' fumble. Chris, I was upset you didn't laugh at my joke.
Which
I
one?
sent you a text when Woody Marks fumbled and said Buzz would never. And you didn't.
I didn't realize you were. I was. You know what?
You
I was
didn't
with
even give me
family.
the time
I
of
was
day.
with family. I wasn't looking at my phone that much. I'm sorry. I love it. I love it.
I said Buzz would never fumble. But 5 turnovers in this game. The Texans defense was great. They made Drake May suffer for long periods of time, but they just couldn't do it all by themselves. There was a pick 6 in this game. It was wrong. They had 5 turnovers, and I think the Patriots at one point had only 7 points off those 5 turnovers. So the defense was. And it was the pick 6. The defense gave up no points off the turnovers. So they were sensational. But just real quick with the Texans, what do you do? CJ's going to he's after year 3, so he has 2 more years on his rookie deal if they accept his 5th-year option. So obviously you probably play him next year. But then after that, right now, I don't know how you pick up his 5th-year option and go with it again.
The Texans just need to move off of CJ Stroud. His rookie season was great, and we've been holding on to that this whole time, but this game was proof. He's not that guy that's going to win a Super Bowl. He has the best defense behind him, forcing turnovers, making up for his mistakes, and he still found a way to lose this game. The 4 turnovers in the first half were terrible. At least 3 of them were just terrible interceptions. He's getting sacked and just throws the ball, a punt into the sky, and it's going to get intercepted. Terrible mistakes, and it's not even that he can't run anymore, which I don't know what happened to that. But his decision-making is so much worse.
Yeah.
I know the offensive line isn't great. I know he didn't have a lot of receivers. That wasn't the problem. The issue was just he was making terrible decisions, throwing to the wrong team. Guys were open. He just missed the guys and threw it to the wrong team. He's not the guy for the Texans. They need to move on. It's really sad because you thought they had this guy and they were actually going to be a competent team. That Texans defense was incredible. They were the reason why they won games this year, and CJ Stroud lost them this game. They could have beaten the Patriots. They really could have. They probably should have. But they didn't because CJ Stroud decided to give the Patriots many points.
Yeah, it was weird. It felt like he was told, don't take sacks. Because a couple of them, it was just take it. And, he was trying to get the ball out. You think the coach would be like, hey, we have this defense. If you don't have it, take the sack. We'll punt. We have a great punter. Tommy Townsend's awesome. And we'll play defense, and we'll be all right. But
they have a great punter and a great kicker.
Yeah, take your time. We'll be all right. We'll just play the long game here. Let the defense make a play. We'll capitalize, which they did. They got the turnover, and then they got the touchdown out of it. So, they had opportunities. They just didn't put together a full game. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Like I said, you're probably going to go with him next year because he's still in his rookie deal. You're like, okay, 1 more year. Let's see what happens. I would bring in a very experienced veteran backup quarterback. I'd spend some money on a backup quarterback.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
The Texans should bring in Aaron Rodgers. They need a quarterback who doesn't make terrible mistakes like that. You know what Aaron Rodgers can do great? Throw the ball out of bounds, not make mistakes. You know what the Texans, CJ Stroud, couldn't do? He would just either take the sack or give the ball to the other team. When the pressure's there, Rodgers is like, I don't want this. Throw that thing out of bounds. Throw it at the foot of some receiver. He doesn't make those mistakes. And guess what? With the Texans defense behind him, they could actually win those games. CJ Stroud would either take a sack in field goal range, take a sack to take them out of it, or he would just throw the ball up into the air. Aaron Rodgers is smart. He knows not to do that. I think Rodgers has another year in him. He doesn't want to take hits, and the Texans don't have a great O-line. But Rodgers showed this year, he'll get the ball out in half a second. He doesn't want to get touched.
Yeah, he also threw a pick 6 on his last play to the Texans. So
he knows how good that defense is. He wants to go there. Okay,
he gave up 2 defensive touchdowns in the 4th quarter.
Rodgers wasn't great in that game, I know. But you know what, Adam? That Texans defense was great. They were getting pressure on him. And I think against the Patriots, the Aaron Rodgers, do you think Aaron Rodgers and the Texans are better than CJ Stroud and the Texans?
Next year?
Yes.
No, not
you
next
don't think so?
No, I don't think they're much better. Not worth what the Aaron Rodgers headache would be for D'Amico Ryans.
I would rather have Aaron Rodgers for next season than CJ Stroud.
But you also got to deal with the locker room problems that come with Aaron Rodgers.
What's the locker room problem? He seemed to get along great in Pittsburgh. The players
in Pittsburgh, there's some young guys in Houston that might be like, I'll tell you, Azeez Al-Shaair is one of those guys that's sometimes great to have on your team. Sometimes Azeez Al-Shaair there's some things Aaron Rodgers going to do that he might be like, yeah, no.
I don't know. I don't know much about him or his personal beliefs of whatever, but all I'm saying, they need a quarterback who's not going to either take a terrible sack or just throw a ball up in the air terribly.
I'll tell you who they should go get.
Who?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is a torn Achilles.
Yeah, sign him. Bring him in. Wait for him.
No.
Start Davis Mills to start the year and then bring Daniel Jones in.
I don't think Daniel Jones is the solution. coming off a torn Achilles. He makes
Who
a lot
had
of
a better
mistakes.
year this year, Aaron Rodgers or Daniel Jones?
That's not the point. This is gonna be Daniel Jones, fresh off of a torn
I'll tell
Achilles.
you who played better than Aaron Rodgers, I think, at times this year was Kirk Cousins.
I think the Falcons are going to keep Kirk Cousins, though. I don't think they're going to get rid of Kirk.
Yeah, I think they will, too. But, like, there's a lot of guys I'd go with before Aaron Rodgers, who I think is done, by the way. I just think Aaron's done. I think he's just, I'm out. Peace.
Listen, if I'm a quarterback who's smart and can, not turn the ball over 4 times in the first half, I'm going to the Houston Texans, and I'm winning a Super Bowl.
I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. He will get destroyed.
I don't think Rodgers will win a Super Bowl, but I think they would have won that game today.
Yeah, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers will play 17 games with the Houston Texans offensive line in front of him.
Listen, Rodgers had a not great offensive line this year, and he was still whipping the ball out.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line actually statistically looked pretty good this season. So, like, it's
statistically because Rodgers knew.
They also ran the ball really well at times this season.
They did, but Rodgers was great at just getting the ball out quickly. He never held on to the ball.
Yeah, but they're just going to blitz the heck out of him and say, we'll hit him. We'll just keep hitting him. He's old. He'll fry. I'll tell you what Aaron could do. Sit out the first couple months of the season and be like, when you need me, call me. And I'll wait, and I'll come in week 11 fresh, energized, stay in shape, and then get you on that run late in the season. That would actually, I think, be great for both sides.
We'll see. I just am so disappointed in CJ Stroud because we had so much hope for him after his rookie season, and last season was bad. We kind of just blamed the offensive line. This year, though, it wasn't that. It looked like it was him, not the offensive line this year.
He'll be a Kevin O'Connell reclamation project probably in 3 years.
Maybe get on the line behind JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, but 3 years. I think we'll know what JJ McCarthy is in 3 years. So
I think it might be too late for CJ Stroud in 3 years.
Well, Sam Darnold took a long time. Daniel Jones took a long time. Baker, like there's a lot of guys. CJ's he'll be a backup for a little bit, probably after this stint in Houston, and then reclamation project.
We'll see.
They all are reclamation projects.
I just think any decent quarterback could have won that game.
Go to Shanahan, back up Brock Purdy. That seems to be the path.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, back up Brock Purdy, learn the ropes, and then go somewhere else and you're all-pro quarterback. Crazy how it works.
To the Patriots, they did play well.
Yeah,
I mean, Drake May really made some really good throws. That pass to Booty was that, and the catch too. Like, pass and throw were perfect. But also, you could do that when you get the ball 8 times in the red zone because CJ Stroud is giving you the ball there. So,
they your pick to win the Super Bowl right now. Your Bills are out. So, are they the team for you? No, still not them. Who you taking?
Seahawks. I'm sticking to my original pick here. Well, actually, no, it would have been Bills.
But the Bills were your pick. That's why I was giving you out. Like, you had Bills Patriots in the AFC Championship, so.
Yeah, I also, too, the New England Patriots have the easiest path to the Super Bowl of any team in NFL history.
Well, I did want to wait on. I was trying to think if there was another one. Like, the Eagles won when they lost to the Chiefs. When they played the Giants at home, and then they got the Niners with no quarterback because Brock got hurt on, like, the second play of the game.
Okay, fine. I'll rephrase.
Like, that was the only one. Because then Josh Johnson got hurt, and Brock Purdy was playing me good.
I guess we don't know the Patriots' outcome yet. But
yeah, they could
the New England Patriots have one of the easiest paths to the Super Bowl that we have ever seen. They faced the Chargers with no tackles in round 1. In round 2, they faced C.J. Stroud and a great Texans defense, but C.J. Stroud, gave that game away. They had easily the easiest regular season schedule that we've seen in a long time.
Yes.
And then now they're going to have Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos. The Patriots had to all line up perfectly for them this year. This is very similar, we talked about it, to the Celtics a few years ago. They faced a Jimmy Butler-less Heat in round 1. They faced a Cavaliers team that was missing Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen.
Yeah, no
Spida. In the conference finals, they played the Pacers with no Tyrese after game 1. And in the finals, they had Luka and the Kyrie Mavs, which were good, but they weren't, this juggernaut. They were a decent team, but the Celtics were better. So New England is just getting very lucky in recent years with their matchups. Nothing wrong with that. Not criticizing them. Not saying they're bad. Just saying very easy schedule. And that's why you have to try in the regular season so you can get the 2 seed, get the better matchups.
Still remember Donovan Mitchell going off in game 1 of that series and then not playing again. It really hurt.
That was Tyrese in the Eastern Conference Finals. Tyrese almost won them game 1 and then he was done.
Yep, it was literally the same thing, and I don't think there was anyone for the Heat that went off in Game 1, but I think they won Game 1.
They did. I think
the
they won a
Celtics
game.
won in 5 in every series. So yeah,
well, I think they lost Porzingis one game or for the series too, but
but it was it's been easy, but I'll tell you, I'm not counting out the Broncos. Like, if anyone could draw up a game plan for Jarrett Stidham to be successful, it's Sean Payton. So, like,
I saw Sean Payton carry terrible Saints teams to a decent record in through playoff games, and I love Drew Brees. I do. That man will forever be one of my favorite people. He was not great towards the end of his career. He was very accurate, but he was very limited. He could not throw a deep ball. His arm gave out. We saw it the year after he was done playing. He was like, yeah, I can't throw with my right arm anymore. He had to throw lefty to his kids. So Sean Payton had to develop a whole strategy, just do little dump offs to Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas doing slants. Yeah. And it worked for the most part. I think he could, if there was any coach I would pick right now to do it, it would be Sean Payton. I think he's really good at it.
Yeah, so we'll see what he can do. All right, for the sake of time, Chris, let's do our pain and panic and get out of here. And then tomorrow we'll come back with most tortured fan bases. How about that?
Okay. Gives the audience a reason to come back for tomorrow's episode.
Yes. Yeah, because it'll be a lot of fun. Gives us time to think about it, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so here we go. Our pain and panic. Chris, who is your pain of the week?
This is tough, Adam. It's tough when,
go with your heart, not your head. Go with your heart, not your head.
There's only 4 losses, okay? But the issue is I'm trying to think who'd be my panic. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not even doing the NFL here. I'm going off the script.
Okay.
I have an interesting one.
My pain, I think it has to be the Bills. You could put them as the panic. I actually was going to say the Bears going into.
That's what I thought. That's why I said go with your heart.
Actually, you know what? You're fine. You're right. You're right. My pain is the Bears.
Yeah.
Only because they had the most exciting fourth quarter. And just like the Bills, they get a stop immediately, they get the ball, and you're like, boom, we're about to win. And then you throw a pick, and the other team goes down and kick a field goal.
We didn't even talk about Ben Johnson consistently going for it on fourth down. He had like 3 field goals he could have kicked in this game.
Listen, I like going for it a lot of times. I think like at the end of the game in the overtime it was worth it. But like early in the game too,
just take the
3. Just take the 3. Like unless you're in, like fourth down territory of like, like the 40s where it's like a really hard field goal and the punt's not worth it. You know what I mean? Like
they're on the door of the red zone.
Yeah. Just kick the field goal, Ben. Sorry. Yeah. I like you. I do. Stop, please. But no, not Broncos. Bears would be my pain.
There you go. Me? Basketball fans. And here's
NBA
why.
NBA fans or just basketball?
Just basketball fans in general.
Okay.
Because officially got Mike Tirico announced that Michael Jordan is just the one interview, and he's not coming in for any more. That is the only conversation we're getting between Mike Tirico and Michael Jordan this season. And maybe ever. And it's to the point that I saw someone say, if this is what we were getting, we should have just got nothing. And I don't disagree with them. Yeah. It's just that they teased us. They're like, oh, Michael Jordan's coming back with NBC. It was one conversation. He talked about a couple topics that are honestly out of date now because the season's been going on forever. And they just kept cutting up clips from one conversation back in early October. And it's just like, man, Michael Jordan probably there's a lot of interesting things you could ask Michael Jordan. Ask him about the fouling conversation with SGA. Like, is this right? Like, is this ethical hoops, MJ? Like, give us your thoughts. How open the game is. I was told
he wanted to change the way we talked about basketball. He didn't like where the narratives about basketball have gone, and he wanted to change that.
He gave us one conversation. And I was intrigued. Like, the first conversation was really interesting. And then it's like, this is it? This is all we're getting? Oh. So basketball fans, we could have got great content. Michael Jordan discussing load management. Michael Jordan discussing ISO basketball. Michael Jordan discussing the 3-point shot every day. Michael Jordan up to date, like Giannis booing back at the fans. We could have got Michael Jordan talking about that. Nope. We just get some generic conversation.
These topics were like 5 years too late. I'm like,
yeah, load management. We're way past that. NBA. Yeah, it's over.
I went to the next game the other day. Brunson wasn't in. Josh Hart wasn't playing, and I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, but you got to see Devin Booker.
Yeah, I was very happy to go, but like, yeah, MJ, I knew this was a thing 5 years ago was a problem. Now you're a little late to the convo.
Yeah, Tim Duncan's been doing this since 2013.
Yeah. Remember the injuries for the Spurs? Old, rest.
Yeah,
like
the worst one was when they played the Heat in a finals rematch and none of them played.
Yeah.
That's national TV and none of the Spurs played.
Yeah. So. What is Michael Jordan doing nowadays that makes it so he can only have one conversation with Mike Tirico? He can't give us more. He can't come in a few times, maybe once a month, and give us some current things. No, it's one conversation that gets released throughout the season to where it has no relevancy by the time it comes out.
You're not cutting into his golf, and you're not cutting into his NASCAR time.
What's he doing? Just playing poker and golf all day?
Like, he does own a NASCAR team, but
I'm sorry. Like, is that really taking up that much time?
Well, you have to go to the race and, watch the guys race.
Does he need to be there?
Well, yeah, it's his team. The owners of the team go. Like, if you own the Knicks, you go to the Knicks
NASCAR race. You're talking about a sport I know nothing about.
Every week, starting in February.
Week? Oh my god!
Starting in February, it's pretty much every week. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe one day a week he could talk basketball.
Oh no, he could definitely find time. He just doesn't want to.
Yeah, I think they would make it very easily. Have they put it all together yet, or is it still just the little segments?
I don't know if they put it all together yet. I just know I saw that Mike Tirico officially announced that they don't have another conversation planned.
Well, in that case, can you just give us the full length thing? I'm tired of seeing little snippets of one-liner from Michael Jordan about something that's not relevant at the time. I want to see the full convo.
At this point, you're telling me they can't just get him on a FaceTime call for 5 minutes and just put him on the they do that with the players for at Sunday Night Football. Like, they bring the guys on and they FaceTime a guy in the locker room. They can't do that with MJ for he can do it in a golf cart. We can take a break, we'll let you take a swing, and then come back.
His caddy has his Twitter, and his caddy just tweets, "Ask MJ about Giannis." He thinks that's fine. I just want to know his thoughts.
I do get why he doesn't want to talk about a lot of it, because he does own the Jordan brand. So he's probably I don't want to talk about players potentially negatively that affects my ability to sign them. But at the same time, MJ, you can play the game. You can be like, dude, I'm never signing Dennis Schroeder. So I don't have to worry about
maybe don't trash Russell Westbrook, who's a Jordan guy. That's fine. But you know what you could do? Hey, this was a cool play, or this offense is very nice to watch. Here's why. Give us a breakdown.
Giannis, it's awesome. I wouldn't boo back at the fans, but I understand your frustration. You can play the game. MJ just, I don't blame him. I mean, he's retired. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. But don't tease us, NBC.
Why do the one conversation? Yeah. What purpose is that serving? You're not changing the narrative the way we talk about people.
And then NBC did a horrible job of advertising what this was. They thought it was a TV deal. No, it was just they sat down with him one time. NBC should have said, we have a sit-down conversation with Michael Jordan. We were like, oh, that's cool. But then we know it's one, so it's we never got our hopes up. So
it should have been a once a month MJ comes into the studio and everyone's going to watch. It would have been great.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Thank you for bringing that up. It was actually a terrible way to announce thing. And, I get why they did it. It was a lot more exciting expecting Michael Jordan to be like, hey, everyone, I'm actually doing some media. Instead, it was I'll give you
why I'm
1
the
hour.
Greatest player ever. Why that's what I want. I want Jordan. You tell me why.
Listen, what we were told before the season was he doesn't like the way they're talking about players nowadays. He went through a lot of struggle, and people tend to glorify his days, and he wants to come talk about it. That's what the reporting was, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's a different view than what Charles Barkley or Shaq says. I saw one post was saying people were freaking out over Inside the NBA, but the Amazon crew has done a really good job of
they actually break down basketball and talk about basketball,
and they're not
this guy
he's above my guy, blah 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 blah. We wouldn't do that because that's weak.
Yeah,
and it's we never wanted to team up together to win a championship. We wanted to win it by ourselves. And then they're I could have won because I was by myself. And then I'm oh, you also did team up with people. Charles Barkley played with.
I just hate when they just go, I could dog this guy. I'm yeah, thanks for making me want to watch the product. Thanks, Shaq. I get it. You could score in the post, but you don't need to tell me that when we're talking about how I could dominate Jokic on the block. It's okay, cool, dude, but let's just talk about how good Jokic is right now. All right, we don't need to get into ethical debates.
Sometimes it's funny, and you should be able to go at players at certain things.
Yeah.
Hey, Embiid, you're going up against Jokic. You're both in the MVP discussion. You have to play that game. Unless you're seriously hurt, if
there's
you're actually
a time
hurt, then
to
whatever,
do it, but they just bash the sport every time they can get it. It's funny but it's also like it doesn't make you be like, oh, the basketball's like something I
Adam
really
Silver
want to watch.
talked about this. He was saying like one thing he would change was like the way that people talk about it is like they love the sport, but people keep like wanting to like tear it down who talk about it. And I think he was talking about inside the NBA.
And that's why they expanded to NBC and Amazon. It's really worked out for them, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, I think NBC's done a good job besides the Jordan convo, which was like...
Yeah, like, no, but like their normal crew is awesome at talking about the game. So like that's been really good as well. Yeah. All right, Chris, time for your panic. Are you sticking with the Bills or are you going to go somewhere else?
Just thinking of my losses here, Adam. The Niners, you're not panicking over that because, whatever. I mean, the Broncos, you could panic over next week, but you just know that's,
You could panic about the Niners training staff.
That's more about the electromagnetic field. That might be real at this point.
Yeah.
And then we already panicked about CJ Stroud.
Yeah, that was last week. I do a race step when I made the run.
I know. I mean, I think I panicked about CJ Stroud in the offseason. I don't even know at this point. Like,
you've done a lot of CJ Stroud panicking. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever once come on this podcast and said anything nice about CJ Stroud, and I just feel very validated. But no, it has to be the Bills. It's not that the Bills lost. It's that this was their best chance, and they lost. We already talked about it. And also the fact that this team's getting older. Josh, I don't think, is going to get any better. If anything, is only going to get worse. This was their best chance. I don't even know like who they're paying. I feel like they always have like the same guys on defense who are always hurt by the playoffs. It's just rough out here.
Yeah. You think Sean McDermott should be the coach next season?
No.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame it all on Sean McDermott for this one, but I think they just need a change for the sake of change at this point. And there's a lot of coaches out there that they could potentially get that maybe specialize on a side of the ball that's a little better. Grant Udinski's getting a lot of love. Jags offense coordinator. He's 30 years old. Cleveland's really looking at him. I'm a little surprised because he's never called plays. I love him. He's great with the Jags. He doesn't call the plays though, so I thought maybe, I thought he was going to leave to be like a play caller somewhere else and then go to head coaching job after that.
Yeah.
But seems like he's actually he's getting a second interview with Cleveland, so very nice to see there. Me, for my panic, Chris, I'm going to Mike Rhodes, a guy we know very well, the head coach of the Penn State men's basketball team. They lost today, 93-76. They were down 30 at halftime. They actually made this game competitive in the second half. They went on a 20-1 run in the second half to make it competitive. That got it to like a 10-point game. So they shows how much they were down. But yeah, it has not been a good season. Penn State fell to 9-9 today. They're 0-7 in conference play. I believe the only other winless team in the conference was Maryland, who they played today and lost to. So it has not gone well. Now they're a young team. You're building off that, but I'd be panicking because Penn State's gotten worse every year. I like Mike. He's a good guy. You and I both covered the team when Mike Rhodes has been the head coach. He's a great guy. But things aren't going well. And now there's a big commitment coming up from Dylan Mingo, who is the number 2 recruit in the country. Penn State is in his top 4 schools. So Penn State's in the running for him, which main reason is because Caden Mingo, his brother, plays at Penn State. So if he doesn't get Dylan Mingo, which he was supposed to announce his commitment on Thursday, he's now pushed it back. They play at Rec Hall on Thursday against Wisconsin. If they lose that game, I think there's going to be a lot of noise. And Pat Kraft is going to have to look at this program. I like Mike Rhodes. I think he's a good guy. I think he is a good coach, but things have not gone well. And I think with the amount of coaching changes Penn State's had as well, I think there's going to be conversations. So just panic for Mike Rhodes a little bit because I do like him and I am rooting for him. But especially there are coaches on the staff that I think Penn State might look at and be like, maybe we want to see them in an interim role to see what would happen too. So.
I think Mike Rhodes, everything he talks about, I believe the way that he thinks basketball should be played. They play fast, they play hard. I like this whole pressuring up the court thing. That's what the NBA is doing more of now. And I think a lot of his system of how he plays, I always believed in that's how you should be playing basketball. I like it. I think he's a great coach. I think he's had moments. However, the seasons have not come together in a satisfying way.
Yeah.
It's really tough because when you cover a team, you're supposed to cover them normally, but if you see the guy, like at least once a week, probably a few times a week, you just believe what he's saying. It sounds positive, and you start to like the guy. And then now you're like, if this was like a random guy came into this, I'd probably be upset. Because it's Mike Rhodes, I like him. I think he's saying the right things. I think he's teaching the right things or coaching the right way. It's just not working. Not a great game. If they get Mingo, that's probably all right, can't get rid of him because you need that guy.
At least saves his job for a year.
Yeah, but if you don't, then it's like, what's the downside? But he is a good recruiter, and with what he's done recently, but it just isn't materializing.
Yeah, it hasn't been good. Pat Kraft didn't help the case when he said, like, oh, we hold everyone to a national championship standard. And it probably doesn't help that the women's team hasn't been very good this year either. They haven't won a conference game either.
Do they still
Bryce
have
Jordan
the same
Center has
coach?
been kind of dim.
Does the women's
Carolyn
team?
Keeger is still the head coach. Yeah, so that hasn't helped probably because the Bryce Jordan Center has been kind of dim. Good news for the Bryce Jordan Center. The Penn State wrestling team will host Ohio State there on January 30th.
Nice. Nice to catch up with Penn State, because obviously I'm not going to keep up with it as much as I did when I was covering the team. But
I still watch them all, and sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's not.
You're a little closer than me, Adam. I wish.
I also cover the baseball team. They got a big pitcher coming over in 2020 next season from Japan, who's a top 20 prospect. So it was a big recruit for Mike Gambino, who's doing a phenomenal job. Pat Kraft nailed that hire, by the way. Mike Gambino's great. Love that guy. But yeah, so I hope it works out for Mike Rhodes. Hope they're able to get Dylan Mingo, kind of turn this season around, show the improvement with the young crew. Because if you get that young core playing well together, you kind of build that towards next season. But things aren't looking good, and I've seen some people kind of calling for his job. So just slight panic. Now, not like official people at Penn State, like just some fans on X saying, oh, we got to get rid of Mike Rhodes. So
they must be right.
Yeah, the fans are never wrong. They are always right when they say, well, you got to get rid of a coach.
I'm not saying fans, but I'm saying people on the internet. Especially Dodgers fans, I felt like I was fighting a war with after the Kyle Tucker things. Listen, I try talking to people in the comments when they actually present a point. Sometimes they don't say a point. They're just like, you're an idiot. You don't know ball. And it's like, what am I supposed to say to that? If you're going to comment something mean, do it right.
Ignore it. You just ignore it.
No, but Adam, you have to, but here's the thing.
I know you're getting more in engagement.
I have a dream, Adam.
Oh, jeez. Hey, Martin Luther King Day is today. Shout out to everyone.
Exactly. My dream is that Sports Talk, we can actually post up thing, respond with points, and have a discussion. And I will happily respond to these comments that make it. I love it when I get a good comment, and I'm like, that's a good point. And then I'll disagree or say something. And I love our comment section. My favorite one the other day, I was going to say something. One person said, or about Sean McDermott, they called us a hater, but they spelled it wrong. They said hatter. They put 2 T's instead of 1. And they go, you're a hatter. He's one of the best Buffalo coaches we've had. And then someone replied and said, I think you mean hater, but if you're looking for a hatter, you should watch Alice in Wonderland. Best comment I've seen. So no, give us reply to our stuff. Give us comments. I will I usually like every comment that's like a normal, non-aggressively mean comment. So thank you to our fans. I want to do in the off season. I want to do a mean comment, video.
Yeah, Broncos fans made me stay off that a little bit.
Adam, shout out one of our fans.
At us.
Shout out one of our fans.
I love it. I love it.
He went on TikTok. He replied to. We both made a video. You made one doing an overreaction, saying the Broncos are going to miss the playoffs, and then the next week, they were my panic, and he replied to both of them. He said,
"Yeah."
Any update on this? And I replied and I said, "Thank you for pointing this out. I appreciate that you saved this to come back at us."
No problem being wrong, by the way. I've got no problem being wrong.
And I said, to be fair to Adam, this was an overreaction video, but I honestly was, panicked.
No, I've got no problem being wrong either. Like, I'm the first guy that'll admit if I'm wrong. I'll put my hand up and say, yep, I got that one wrong. I'm rooting for the Broncos, by the way, now, too. Because I've got friends that are Broncos fans. I got friends who work with the Broncos, so I'm rooting for the Broncos. But early in the year, when we were just starting this thing, they were a little hard. Nay, they backed it up. The teams backed it up for them, so got to give them a lot of credit for that. So
I just want to say thank you to our commenters who are,
enjoying
commenting,
having fun with it, fun because this is sports. It's supposed to be fun. Yeah, sports are supposed to be fun, guys. Like, come on now. Like, we don't got all ELE. Everybody love everybody. Come on now. Gotta love it. All right, so that's gonna do it for this episode. We will be back tomorrow. Again, Chris, not letting me be a happy guy on this show. Make us rank the most tortured fan bases in the NFL. God forbid we have a fun, lighthearted episode for you guys. I'm trying to preach positivity.
We've been so happy, Adam. We need to stay true to the Pain and Panic name.
2026, that was our resolution. Was we were going to be happy. Not anymore. Not anymore. All right, but that is going to do it. We'll be back tomorrow, as I said, ranking the most tortured NFL fan bases. For my partner, Chris Reynolds, I'm Adam Sheets. Thank you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.